All right, Coach Pendleton, we are kind of in the full swing of off-season. How are your guys doing, resting up, recovering this off-season?
I'm still trying to figure out what this off-season you're talking about. I think we've had a really successful off-season. We got to put 2 people on the United States World Team, so that's been really exciting for our program. Justin Rodermacher, Aiden Natau. I got to start learning a little bit more Greco. Oregon State, our school years are a little bit different. We start school at the end of September, and our school ends at the beginning of June. So while everybody's kind of been off for a little while, we're really just letting our athletes go home. Finals week just wrapped up last week, and our camp's starting up next week, so we're excited for that.
Talk a little bit about Rodemaker. If you followed, Oregon wrestling, or you're really into the weeds in high school and college wrestling, he's a national qualifier for you, but probably not a guy a lot of people saw making the world team that are, national fans. Speak a little bit about him and how he was able to get on that world team and the progression he's made in just 1 year in your program.
Yeah, he came in and I think at first he thought he was going to be a 74-pounder, but we had a pretty big knack that he was going to grow. He's put on 20, 25 pounds of muscle. Generally, we don't like starting true freshmen, but he approached the coaching staff and he really wanted to go. Multiple top 15, top 10 wins on the year for a pretty successful year. Ran into some hammers at the NCAA tournament, but it was also that progression where it opened his eyes to what is really out there and what he actually could do. I think he was one of the guys that when he got back from the NCAA tournaments at his end of the year meeting, he was a little down on himself. He's like, I think I could have got on the podium. I think if I really believed in myself, I think if I had done those little extra things. And unfortunately, there's a little hidden fact that a lot of people don't know is, I don't know if it's still true to this day, but when I was in college, there's twice as many 2-time NCAA champions as there were 4-time All-Americans. And especially at Oklahoma State, where I went to school, and it's just because that first year is really hard. So I think now he's got that taste, he knows what's out there, he's just been rocking and rolling and training his tail off.
There's also huge news this offseason, not just wrestling, NCAA athletics as a whole, the settlement, and the ever-changing position or view of a student athlete, NCAA student athlete. What were your thoughts when you first heard the news that NCAA athletes are just the back pay and that some are going to get paid moving forward? And has your view kind of changed at all now that it's been a month, 6 weeks since that news came out?
No, my view hasn't really changed. I think that we're in a position that we got to start learning about the economics of college athletics a little bit more, where the money comes from, where the money goes, how important donors, how important community engagement really is. I really believe that college athletics is a breeding ground for great men and women and leaders in the future, and to make sure that we're not losing sight of the development of the student athlete. The NIL deals, all that, it's really fun, but we're changing people's lives. That's what I really like. I mean, as much as we get praised and criticized for our athletic performance, most rosters have 35 guys, and that wrestling's impacted those 35 guys in a deep way. I look at guys like Andy Barth, Art Matori. They were never NCAA champions, but they were 2 of the most impactful people in the history of our sport. With House versus NCAA, one thing that we have to start doing is we have to, and I think college coaches are doing it fast, and the trickle down is going to happen with high school coaches, club coaches, just wrestling in general. We're going to have to learn how to adapt. We're going to have to learn how to change. The old ways are gone. We're going to have to start thinking outside the box. We're going to have to start trying new things to really grow the sport and to start driving it toward a revenue status.
Does it make you at all worried about the future of college wrestling?
I think there's some concerns for sure. I think that we're in a good place. That luckily, sadly, wrestling does its best with its back against the wall as a sport. But it's one of those deals that I know here at Oregon State, we've kind of shifted our mindset with where we're going to allocate resources, what we're doing with that, and it doesn't make me. I'm kind of in that middle ground where I'm not losing much sleep, but I'm not going to be caught with my head in the sand.
More positive note. Talk a little bit about what Beaver fans should be excited about your squad this year, whether it's roster, schedule, Whatever,
We
why
got
should
a
they
ton.
be
We got a
excited?
ton. We have a ton of young talent that's really starting to make our way in the lineup. We're still kind of rebounding from our COVID year with our scheduling, where during 2020 we really it became a really heavy home and a heavy away schedule for the past couple of years. This year we're going to have Iowa coming out November 2nd, the Gill Coliseum, Oklahoma State November 17th, just to start the season off. We like to make it real easy on ourselves. Last year we packed the house and had over 9,000 people for the Penn State match. Huge elevated stage, and the community engagement has been unreal. And I mean, how many places can you go on the West Coast and wrestle in front of 10,000 people on a continued basis? There's really not that many places you can do that at. And you can do that at Oregon State. Our team, we graduated some people, but we have some really good young guys coming up and through. We have some impact transfers that are looking to get in our lineup. And, it's probably the summertime where I'm just going to kind of sit back and watch the iron sharpen iron and see who comes out on top.
You have always sought out a very tough schedule for your guys.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're bringing in Penn State, Iowa for duels. You guys are going to the tough tournaments like CQLV. What's the thought process behind getting your guys battle tested for NCAAs?
Collecting data. Just collecting data. I want to go out and experience as much as we possibly can. I look back to, the Willett twins, and when we got to go into Penn State and let them feel what those guys felt like, when we got to go step on the mat in the Gallagher Arena. Those are the kind of deals where you're collecting data, you're learning about yourself, you're learning about what you're capable of, you're learning about where you have to get better. You're playing that chess game of, hey, these are the areas I have to improve on. I was like, I told our guys I could build an easy schedule, a little house of cards, and you guys would have spotless records and everybody would be really excited. But then when the rubber hits the road and when reality hits, you're not battle tested, you're not going to go. Everybody talks about going into deep water. Well, if you don't know if you can swim, you better not go in the deep water.
Right. What's the future of Oregon State's conference?
That's a great question. It's been a lot of things, a lot of moving parts to it. Right now, we can't get into the full disclosure, but there's a reason why you didn't see Oregon State join the Pac-12. We had that opportunity a year ago, and we kind of made the decision as a staff that we're going to plant our flag and we're going to help grow wrestling on the West Coast. We applied for an automatic qualifier waiver. We got a guaranteed 1 year with provision for another year added on. And what we're going to do is we're going to wait to see how the shakeout or conference realignment, because we're still not done yet. You're still seeing some network TV contracts expire. You're seeing some schools that are still shopping around. But I really feel strongly that wrestling on the West Coast is going to thrive on the collegiate level, and that we're going to grow. I'm not happy with a 6-team conference. I want to get to an 8 to 12-team conference, and that's been the goal. And I think that there's a lot of interest in it from talking to a lot of coaches.
Hey, well, that's great to hear. You're getting me excited about it. Is there anything else you want to add, promote, or anything other before I get out of here?
No, it's nice and sweaty, and I had a great clinic.
Hey, good stuff. Thank you, Coach.
No problem.